regarding one of the absolute biggest decisions any of us can ever make: choosing a marital partner. Whether you're actively navigating the dating world right now, maybe you're already in a partnership, or honestly, even if you just love analyzing historical texts to uncover timeless wisdom, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to unpack exactly what this source material has to say about the true underlying purpose of a partnership. Okay, let's just jump right into this. Imagine this for a second. What if a literal dream could prevent a total disaster? The text we're analyzing today hooks us immediately with this high-stakes, life-or-death scenario right out of the gate. It completely reframes the whole concept of choosing a partner. It's not focusing on romance or, having shared hobbies. Instead, it builds everything around survival, protection, and crisis management. It asks us to picture a situation where one partner is completely blind to an impending catastrophe, while the other possesses this unique intuition to see it coming from a mile away. I mean, just feel the sheer dramatic weight of this passage. Taken directly from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 27, it describes this incredibly tense moment where a wife sends an urgent, desperate message to her husband to stop him from making a historic, entirely irreversible mistake. The text uses this specific biblical moment to hammer home its core premise. A partner's value isn't just in keeping you company. It's in their ability to perceive massive dangers that you might be completely oblivious to. Section 1. Beyond the surface. The source makes a really compelling argument here about how we often prioritize the exact wrong things when evaluating a life partner.
And it sets up this really stark contrast. On one side, you have the superficial stuff, basically just a visual style, outward appearance, body shape, skin tone, basic physical attraction. The text explicitly warns men not to base their choice solely on those visual factors. Then, on the other side, you have the essential, protective, character qualities, wisdom, understanding, and discernment. The whole argument here is that a great visual style or physical traits absolutely cannot guide you through a real-life crisis. But a partner who is genuinely equipped with discernment, they act as an active, living shield against terrible decisions.
Moving into Section 2, Pilot's Wife and the Dream. Let's take a look at our first major case study to see how the text builds on this concept of a partner's spiritual sensitivity. There is a massive, profound irony highlighted here. Pontius Pilate was sitting on the judgment seat. He held the ultimate political and legal power in that moment. He literally held the power of life and death over the innocent man standing right in front of him, Jesus Christ. But despite having all that outward power and authority, the text points out that Pilate completely lacked crucial inner perception. He just couldn't see the spiritual magnitude of the choice he was making. But his wife? She absolutely could. The source paints a crystal-clear picture of this dynamic. The husband had no dream. Zero internal alarm bells were going off for him. But the wife was, as the text describes it, spiritually sensitive. She perceived the man's innocence, she recognized the huge impending consequences, and she actively reached out to guide her husband away from a dangerous decision. The text presents this as the ultimate example of a partner acting as a protective shield, meant to preserve her husband's destiny when his own judgment was totally clouded by the pressure from the crowd. Section 3. Abigail's Wise Intervention. Now, the source doesn't just rely on one single story. It brings in the account of Nabal and Abigail to push this thesis even further. Here again we get a really sharp contrast. Nabal is described as acting incredibly foolishly toward David, essentially provoking a massively powerful leader and putting his entire household at severe risk of slaughter. So Nabal represents the partner making a reckless, highly destructive decision. Abigail, on the other hand, represents proactive wisdom. She doesn't just sit back and watch the train crash. She recognizes the threat her husband created and immediately steps in.
Abigail didn't just stand on the sidelines. She physically intervened in a massive crisis. She brought peace to an incredibly volatile situation. And ultimately, she prevented the absolute destruction of her entire household. According to the source, Abigail's ability to navigate this extreme difficulty literally saved her family from ruin. It's just another powerful piece of evidence the text uses to argue that a partner's wisdom is a tangible, life-saving asset.
Section 4. Traits of a Godly Wife. So, what does all of this ancient history actually mean for someone looking for a partner today? Let's get into the practical takeaways. Isolates the true value of a partner with this very specific definition. Really pay attention to the action verbs used here. A partner isn't just someone who kind of casually exists alongside you. It is someone who supports, counsels, protects, and helps preserve the home.
The entire emphasis is on active preservation and teamwork when you're staring down life's biggest challenges.
Let's lock these 4 pillars in: supports, counsels, protects, helps. The text strongly advises that when you're evaluating a potential spouse, these are the traits you absolutely need to be looking for. Because, as the source implies, life is inevitably going to get difficult. You're going to face high-pressure decisions, just like Pilot, or sudden crisis situations, just like Nabal. And in those critical moments, outward appearance means absolutely nothing. You need a partner who can actively execute these 4 functions. Section 5. Preserving the family. Let's tie this all together. Why does this ancient wisdom still matter for a modern household?
Well, it matters because finding a partner with that kind of spiritual sensitivity and discernment acts as the ultimate safeguard against serious mistakes and generational consequences. We're not just talking about avoiding a bad day here. We are talking about preventing catastrophic decisions that could completely derail your life, your family's future, and honestly, even the generations that follow. A wise partner is essentially the best insurance policy for your shared destiny.
So it really all boils down to this one final question. Are you looking for a partner who just looks the part, or one who can actually protect your future? This text challenges us to elevate our standards. It challenges us to look way past the superficial and seek out true discernment, deep wisdom, and the kind of protective capacity that can weather literally any storm. Keep that question in the back of your mind as you navigate your own relationships. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Explainer today, and I really hope this look into the text has given you some powerful insights to reflect on.